minutes. They're up for approval on pages 3 through 5. What is the pleasure of this body?
I'll move it. I have one comment. Maybe change. I don't know. It seemed like something missing. So in 3, 4, we have the action, and then there was a motion and a second.
Excuse me, Jocelyn, has the meeting started?
Okay, yeah, John, yeah.
You're on, if you're on mute, if the meeting has started, I just wanted to confirm.
Sorry, John, can you hear us now?
Yeah, so no one, yeah, I just wanted to let you know it hadn't started yet.
Thank you.
Oh, we did call it to order, so maybe you were just not hearing us, John.
Well, that might mean the public, wasn't.
We appreciate it, John. I was just giving you a hard time. Thank you.
Streaming and recording is in progress, correct?
So we'll begin again. This is the annual meeting of BENLIC dated, or as of today, March 26th. We do have a quorum present. Everyone is in attendance. We'll move on to then number 2, approval of the February 2026 minutes. And before we get on to an action item on it, Dan Castle did have a comment on.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, in sections 3 and 4, it talks about the action and then the motion. When you get to 5, it says the action approval of BENLIC Board of Directors. Then right under it, a motion to approve a bid for new construction of the facility. But was there something missing there when action with Chile that should have been specifically called out? Bottom of page 4.
Okay,
It must have been a leftover from the last,
I don't know.
from the last
Motion
minute.
to approve the bid was made by Thomas Baines. You're talking about item 5, correct?
A lot of the times we use a template just to.
So would it be that the
might have been a.
the section about the motion from the Chile was from the previous?
Yeah. Should
So-
be struck.
I would just make a motion, we strike that sentence about a motion for the Chile.
But did it happen last time?
I think it's got to be edited to
May have
to
happened.
just say,
It
shouldn't it be a motion to approve the board schedule, not a
Yeah,
motion?
it should have
to-
been a
Yeah,
motion to approve the board.
yeah, I think it just needs to be edited more so.
But I think what Jocelyn's saying is that we did do that. I think what's confusing is it doesn't have its own 1, 2, 3, 4,
But
5.
that was the previous month.
No, it might not have. I'm not positive about
Okay,
that.
all right, okay.
We may have actually approved.
Well, let's
something
just
by
clarify that.
Chile.
We should table.
So just
Well,
not act on the minutes for, just have it for.
Yeah, I'm next to table the minutes until next month.
Motion made and seconded. Anything on the question? All in favor?
All right.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Item is tabled. Treasurer's report, page 7.
Okay, treasurer's report, we did send this out, I believe, 2 weeks ago, for circulation. Expenses related in general to here, both our ARPA project and Adams Street project. At the bottom, you can see BENLIC has several different accounts, ARPA accounts, treasury bills, everything separated. But in total, the balance at the end of this month of our assets at $10,890,039.04. And thank you to Adam McNeil for reviewing quite a lot of charges.
Thank you, Jocelyn. And thank you, Adam. Their pleasure of the board.
Can I ask you a question? Same question I asked. How are you able to keep up?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds like a lot of work.
It's not terrible.
Okay,
I mean,
all right, great.
it's just mainly reviewing a couple of bills. I mean, it's probably maybe 10 or 20 a month. It's not
Okay.
not that many.
Okay. Cool. Yes. I'm done.
Do you want to move it?
I'll move it then. Yeah, sure.
You have a motion made. Is there a second?
All second.
Motion made and seconded. Anything on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Presentation by Audit and Finance Committee of the 2025 independent audit. It's on the table and there's the presentation.
Also, before Adam starts, so Adam's on our Audit and Finance Committee, and he was present at our session with Drescher and Malecki. Just wanted to let the board know also that Seth Hennard from Lumsden and McCormick is also on our phone call right now. Seth, can you hear us? Yeah. he
Yep, sorry.
checked in.
I mean,
Yeah, there he is. It's
mhm.
okay. So Seth is on the call. And just again, to let the board know, we did have to go through 2 audits this year. We had to do our typical annual audit. We also needed to do an audit for the ARP funds because we did make an expenditure of greater than $750,000. So 2 separate audits, and we'll turn it over to Adam McNeil. There is also a copy of on the table in front of you of the presentation that Drescher and Malecki went over with us a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, so the first slide here is the products of their audit. There was 4 total. Obviously our financial statements, the management letter, which is basically what we put out. There's not really much on that. There was one small error with the way the Bill.com and QuickBooks were interacting. That's been corrected in the financials for 25. And then going forward in 26 with using Lumsden to do the books instead of doing them internally, it'll be fixed on time. It won't have to be corrected. So nothing to be concerned there. And then the audit communication and then the single audit, which are the 2 items that Jocelyn referenced. Big takeaways from them is that there was an unmodified opinion, which is the best we can get. And then the single audit, there was no questions costs, which basically they equated to a clean bill of health. We're doing everything we need to do. So, and then the next one is the communications they had. Their responsibility is basically just to give us an opinion. BENLIC, we put our financials together with the aid of the firm, but then ultimately they review them and make sure that they are what they say they are. Once again, an unmodified opinion. Didn't have any significant policy changes. Our big estimates are our assets for sale, which are like the houses that we're waiting to sell through the ARPA project. And then are due to the different municipalities, depending on the timing of construction and when that funding is due. They did all the independence checklists that every audit firm is going to do. They'd used the hybrid approach. They were substantially completed as of 3/11/26. Did you get the letter from Mr. Sid?
Yes. Yeah.
That was one of the big items they were relating on, so I just wanted to make sure we got. And then the other big news that was talked about potentially being put into the audit, but is probably going to be held off for now, is that our HCR funding was approved going into next year. So then moving.
Sorry, was approved going into
like
27.
Yes. Yeah, and we didn't have there's like one more step left from my understanding with the conversation of getting the that HCR approval like in a pure written form. Like we know it's going to be like it was approved in the budget, but we don't have like a written
Governor
agreement.
Hochul's budget's not official,
Yeah.
but we have been noted in the Senate One House bill that they are restoring funding to 2025 levels. It's just not official yet, so we didn't want to put the word out.
Right. So that's why it didn't make it to a note in the financial statement, but it is something that's on the horizon for BENLIC. Going to the next slide here on the financial statement highlights. We had big increases in our investments and our assets held for sale. Obviously with the ARPA housing that we have left on the books, that was not on the books previously. With the amount of money that's been around, BENLIC has done a good job of managing the funds. We almost doubled our interest income from the previous year. On the liability side, the unearned revenue is all the ARPA funding that hasn't been recognized that we have in cash, but the work has not been completed. And then the loans payment is all the Adams Street project. So to the next slide, not much really to note on here. The bulk of the revenue is the ARPA funding, 8.3 from Erie Lake County, 6.4 million for both of these from Buffalo. The rest is the LDI funding. On the expense side, we saw an increase on the administrative side of the expenses. We had a part-time position become full-time in 2025 with all the ARPA costs. The other side of our cost is basically the cost of our maintaining the houses after completion. And that's all about what I got.
Were there any important notes that footnotes?
They were at a really clean bill of health. They said the 2 biggest takeaways that I could have taken from the meeting was that we had an unmodified opinion and that we didn't have any, uncategorized expenses for our single audit.
And again, Seth is on the call. Seth, I don't know if you had any comments at all regarding the audit, thank you also for your help and assistance as always.
If I was just here for any questions on an audit perspective, but yeah, that's a good summary. So everything is pretty much what I would say. So that's what everything Drescher said was good, good statements, good year, good financials. Just everything's positive.
And this is not an action item, this is just the receipt of it.
Correct, yes.
Once again, thank you. So then moving on to approval of the 2025 reports, the action item for the reports that are on the table. We have the 2025, the independent audit, financial statements, management letter, internal controls, the procurement report, investment report, property report, performance management, and the board of directors evaluations. One completed. I'll turn it over to Jocelyn.
Okay, so here we are asking the board to approve the financial statements, and then we would be uploading the entire package to the authority's budget office. Technically, it's due by the end of the month. But if anybody has any comments or would like to speak to us in the next week about changes, we have not done the uploading yet. The annual report, we do have hard copies on the table if anybody would like to take it. Last month, I did kind of a lengthy presentation about what BENLIC is all about and our accomplishments. That's basically what's reflected in the annual report. All of those accomplishments, in addition to the financial statements, all of BENLIC's policies, all of which are also unchanged from last year. So that would comprise the whole annual report. So we would ask the board to approve both the report and the corporate policies in an unchanged fashion.
Thank you. Is there a pleasure of the board? Okay. Karen, is there a second?
Okay.
Yeah, we do. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Once again, thank you. 6, the annual review / approval of corporation policies. Again, the items are on the table. Investment and deposit policy, which is unchanged. The code of ethics, conflict of interest policy, again, unchanged. Procurement policy, again, unchanged. And finally, the disposition policy, again, unchanged. Jocelyn?
Yeah, that's again, just asking the board's approval of it. It's just considered a best practice, and we didn't make any changes. So that's the reason we didn't send it around, as a part of the package 2 weeks ago, all unchanged.
Given that we've had a turnover on the board or significant turnover with the change in the city administration, et cetera, could you just high points for the investment and deposit policy, the procurement policy and disposition policy? Could you go over the figures that we would be looking at?
Sure. Well, the investment and deposit policy is pretty boring for
So just not the high point.
yeah, the high point would be the only thing that BENLIC would be able to invest in would be some kind of a CD or a money market account. So that's just a policy. It's pretty standard for any public authority. Code of ethics and conflict of interest policy. Again, I'm sorry, I didn't prepare to review the policies. But again, we do ask all of our board members, and we have asked them through email to fill out that conflict of interest policy as well. Procurement is literally how many properties did the organization acquire during the year. So in this case, because this has been a big construction year, we didn't acquire too many, very few, maybe 2. Is that right? In terms of procurement, I know you did that for us.
None acquired, 5 disposed.
None acquired, 5. So procurement, none, and disposition policy, we did dispose of 5, and we would report those all clearly to the authority's budget office.
We're talking about policy, not the.
Right. I don't know what to say about I'm sorry, I didn't.
No, I didn't know.
Again.
Okay, I can-
That had a dollar.
I'd be happy to chime in a little bit. I might be able to help a little bit if you'd like.
Go ahead.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Your investment and deposit policy, as Jocelyn kind of mentioned, any deposits above the FDIC insured amount is required to be collateralized because you're a public authority. So your policy provides for that. The procurement policy really is more addressed for the purchase of goods and services by the land bank. And that is one, as you review your policies annually, given the wonderful inflation we've all experienced over the past few years, that is a policy I've seen others take a closer look at and revise. Because usually it has financial thresholds in it where Jocelyn can make purchases without board approval up to a certain level. So I have seen some other entities making changes to those policies because of inflation. And obviously you did.
I couldn't remember if it's like 5 or 10.
Five?
That's what I can't remember. It's 5.
It's still 5, and we have talked about that changing it in the past. During COVID, during the pandemic, though, we did increase a couple of levels in terms of how much we can approve from a bid without getting it approved by the board. So we are allowed, for example, because prices went up so high, to approve up to $25,000 of a public bid. Like if we're looking for a new roof, for example, we can approve it, but then we would go back and report those items to the board if they were over the $25,000 limit. But yeah, it would be good to we could take a look at the procurement policy if the board's in favor of that, of increasing those levels. 5,000 is low these days.
It would be good just over the course of the year.
And Adam gets anything over 5,000 to review. Yeah, when we do our books every month.
It's not a bad thing at the time, depending on what you guys are seeing. But thank you. So with that being said, any other questions, or is there pleasure of the board?
I'll move it.
Thank you, Thomas. Thank you, Adam. Sorry about that. I broke that chain. Motion made and seconded. Anything on the question? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Number 7, election of officers for 2026. There's a slate that's been put before you for chair, vice chair, and treasurer. Chair put before you myself, for vice chair Thomas Baines, and treasurer Adam McNeil. Is there any other nominations, or is there a pleasure of the board?
Those nominated,
Yeah, the whole slate.
the whole slate. I have a whole bunch of people who aren't me.
I'll second it.
We're thankful for that.
Everybody's saying, that's a win-win.
Motion made and seconded. Anything on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried, and thank you for your support. And then moving on to election of committee members, including chairs of committees. Jeremy's got to be here a few times.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we tried to get some volunteers. We also tried to assign board members to as few responsibilities as possible, but we did try to place people where it seemed that they might be the most appropriate and the most helpful. And then we did send this out a couple times via email to ensure that we hoped people were comfortable with their placement here.
So before you have for governance committee chair myself, and then on the rest of the committee, Jeremy and Rosa. The audit and finance committee, Adam is chair, Jeremy and Jessica. For real estate, Lou is chair, and then Mike, Dan, and Adam. And for personnel committee, Dan is chair, and then Karen, Thomas, and myself. Does anybody have any questions, suggestions, changes? Or is there a pleasure of this board?
I'll move the whole slate forward.
Lou, is there a second?
I'll second it.
And Blake Thomas?
No.
Motion made and second. Is there anything on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Moving on to amendment to resolution 2025-8. It's on pages 9 through 11.
This is a resolution that came to the board, as you can see, in October of 2025, and it coincided with a lot of our ARPA houses being ready to go for sale. And as a standard practice of BENLIC, typically, anytime a property is going to be sold, it's brought to the board for consideration. Because we're selling so many properties with ARPA, we wanted to try to put together a resolution that would enable us to essentially come up with a price that the board approved of, and that way, every time we sold an ARPA property, we wouldn't have to slow down the process by bringing it in front of the board. So we tried to very clearly change in the amendment here. Initially, BENLIC had put together an affordable housing calculation and to come up with a potential sales price for the homes. What's happened now, and great with the cooperation of the two new administrations, the county, the city, and Belmont have been working together to determine what the best sales prices should be for the sale of those ARPA homes. And those are reflected on page 11 of this resolution. So what you can see here is a list of all of the ARPA home properties that are being constructed and the recommended sales price for each of them. Those have been mutually agreed by the county and the city and Belmont. So essentially, this amendment here would be an approval of these sale prices. And that way, when the contracts are signed and we move to the closing table, we can be comfortable that the process will not be delayed by coming to the BENLIC table. So with that being said, I just wanted to make sure, I know that Monica and Dan, and Ben have been working on this, and the city and the county. Is there anything I missed? Because I know that there's been a lot of work over the last month coming up with these new prices. Is there anything that you want to add to the conversation that I might have missed?
For added color, I think it was important, like, in any good program is to kind of debrief and after we performed some of that marketing work and hearing from Belmont, some of the local lenders that they were speaking to, and then of course hearing from the city and county, the two main goals are primarily how can we make this as affordable as possible to, working class purchasers. So after a few, I don't know now, 5 or 6 calls, these are the prices that we thought made rational sense of being able to provide that affordability, and then also just responsibly return some ARPA funds or funds from the ARPA sales back to, continue to generate housing opportunities like in the future.
And I would just like to add, you brought in Director Yvonne Bailey from the real estate, part of City of Buffalo, and she provided a lot of market analysis, which was really helpful to get a broader understanding of what we're doing.
What's the difference between sales price floor and sales price? You probably explained it to me before, but I don't.
So I believe that the price of the home will be listed at that, for example, with 111 Austin, the price would be listed at 205,000. I think that the buyer will go through the qualification process and that there is an approval, that what we're essentially saying is that the buyer will be approved. Is this, Ben, just help me along here so I understand the 15% floor. We are allowed, depending on how that person's buyer's financials look, because everything is different in terms of credit scores and how much debt that they can carry, that we would be able to move through toward closing with a floor of $174,250.
For that same buyer.
Correct.
Right. It's not
It's like
impacting the lottery itself.
Correct.
It's lottery winner.
Yep. And then you
steps
start
in and
moving
then-
through
and
that
then you do the
process.
process.
And there's the
you may-
nuance associated with how much debt they have, et cetera, and that sale would still be approved to that floor price without needing to be brought back to the board table for
And is that
disposition
15%
approval.
breakdown? Is this all 15%? Is that the
Correct.
difference
Yep.
between the two?
When do you think they're gonna go for sale?
Really soon.
We hope in the beginning of April.
Oh,
So just to sort of add additional information, we wanted to take the opportunity to somewhat do a relaunch of the program with more branding, a name for this effort that Monica and the county have been working on to come up with an idea, and BENLIC to come up with an idea for the branding of the program. More recently, what day was this? Was this week? Monday. The mayor hadn't had an opportunity to actually put eyes on the bills that we did. So I wanted to make sure that he was able to see the locations. He was able to see a modular build and also a stick build, the bi-levels, and also the ranch style single floor. He was excited about it. He was over the moon about the progress that we're making. And then there was also like this Instagram post that everybody's tagging me on now.
So we were gonna do that for the executive director's report. I'm glad. Really, no, I'm really glad you brought it up. It was really,
Okay, just make sure.
Yeah, right. So and now on social media, so people are actually sending it to me. But anyway, nonetheless, what we anticipate doing is doing again a relaunch so that we can use that opportunity for the county executive, for the mayor, BENLIC, and all of our partners to come out with sort of a commercial, if you will, with the news and do really a bang up job with reintroducing this program to the public. I think it's important of the timing too. A lot of folks start looking for homes during this March, April time period. So I think it's a sweet spot. And then also to, consider what our marketing materials look like, make sure that everything that is externally facing is prepared, ready to go, including signage, everything. Also, Monica and the team at the city is working on a plan to further engage the surrounding community as well. So that we're just trying to reset the effort, come out with a splash with the new administration, a new reinvigorated approach to this whole program, especially with the new pricing model. So I think we're just trying to generate some more interest and some more buzz. So I think we're going to take the opportunity to do that. Hopefully in April, bunch going on. We got a budget that we need to pass. The state of the county is coming up. So there's a lot of things. We're just trying to find a sweet spot so we can do that. So my team will be working with BENLIC in the county to continue making that.
The question, just to get back to your, if everything goes according to plan in April, how many homes do we think we'll actually have?
We'll have
On the market.
a good chunk, probably close to 20.
20?
20, and then the remainder of the properties on this list will probably be delivered by November of this year.
So that's putting just again, turnover on the board, so 20 out of how many are the ARPA?
So there were a total of 52 ARPA properties. There were 5 in Cheektowaga, 4 of which are in the closing process. And then there will be 20 delivered during the month of April, and then the remainder of another 20 will be delivered by November of this year.
Given that since you mentioned that there's 1 remaining in Cheektowaga, do we have an update on that?
Then you want to?
Yeah, we're working with Zach and the county team on how to market that, since it is outside of the city of Buffalo. It's kind of a slightly different market, but plans to work with Belmont on also how to get that through the finish line.
When do we, if everything goes according to plan, when are the Cheektowaga homes on?
Those are nearing a closing date with the buyer.
They're gone.
Oh, they're under
Yep,
contract,
they're
except
gone.
for one.
Yep.
Except for the one, that's why I was like
Got one left. Just the one left.
So then what's the delay? Yeah, how are 20 ready and then what's the delay? Why November? Like that
Oh,
feels
well,
like a
just the
long time.
building, the waves of building. So I would say they built Cheektowaga and so they did 13 in the first wave, 8 in Buffalo, 5 in Cheektowaga. Now they're finishing 7 or 8, plus now adding the modular portion. It's just kind of the wave in phases of building. So we started building in May of 2025, and the completion would be November of 2026. So the construction manager has been managing this 52 house process.
No, it's like, I do, yeah, now.
Are you done?
I am.
Are you? It's invite.
Yeah, don't ask about a certificate.
And Ben, do you know the difference of like where so on the original resolution, we had this same kind of sales price and sales floor, right? How far down did we go?
So the initial 3-bedroom price was $252, and then the 2-bedroom price was $190.
199. Yeah, or 198, probably, yeah.
there anything further that you want to provide, Justin?
I think that's it, unless there's any more questions.
Sorry, one more question. So ARPA 2026, it's considered spent, right? From the
No.
county's perspective, because it's out our doors?
Not considered spent until it's actually spent. It's in advance right now.
Is that true? I don't think, is that true on the county side?
No,
That might be true on the city
we
side.
the county perceived it differently,
Oh, we perceive it differently.
right?
Oh, I see.
But
That sounds like lawyers were involved.
well,
It's sitting in a bank account right now, so I don't know how
Yeah,
it's
we-
spent.
Well, because it's not an
The
account.
county
bank
gave
The
it
account.
county
over.
gave it away.
Yeah,
Gave it to BENLIC, so we spent.
the county wanted it in BENLIC's hands.
purpose.
No, the county and city both have provided all the funding. And then we have an approved cash flow schedule with the construction manager. So it's, all of the money is scheduled to be completely expended by November of this year. So the board approved a schedule for, it started, I believe, last March, yes. So, it was like a 16-month payment schedule. So every month we pay for the construction of the homes.
So either way, no matter who's correct on the issue, if it's out by November, then we're all
Yes.
good.
But we certainly won't have a
Yeah,
plan.
right.
November's awfully close to. Just as you know, only 1 month away from. Not
I know we're being
2026.
timely.
Yeah,
We'll see.
anyway, sorry.
Did you have another question?
No, I think I'm actually done now.
You sure about
Well, since it's that way, can you spend the Buffalo money first? They don't seem to care.
Receive the Buffalo money.
Yeah.
You know what I suggest,
Okay.
what I can do too is I have a cash flow
Yes.
schedule. If you
Yes,
wanna look at it, I can get it to you, the whole cash flow schedule of how we pay Buffalo construction consultant.
It's a portion, right?
Yeah, it is. The county pays a slightly higher proportion. I think it's 0.511 to 0.488. Yeah. Yep.
You notice how Thomas slightly changed it.
Yeah, no, it was excellent.
Thank you.
You are a lawyer.
And a turncoat.
The minutes reflect that.
You want to make that motion before Thomas jumped all over? It's a pleasure of the board.
I'll make a motion.
Well, actually, I don't actually. That was motion made.
Oh, sorry.
It was very quiet.
All
but it
right,
was
okay. You made the motion?
I did.
I'll second the motion.
You did.
there. Motion made and seconded. Is there anything on the question? All in favor?
All right.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Next up then would be the amendments. So resolution 2026-2 authorization for the acquisition of city-owned vacant land on pages 13 through 14. Justin?
Yes, so this again refers to our ARPA infill housing initiative, those initial 52 houses. In April of 2024, BENLIC acquired 45 vacant lots to build the houses on. During the course of this process, our construction managers did identify 2 of those 45 lots that just were not amenable to building, whether it had to do with zoning or neighbors or how small the lot was. So what we are requesting here is that the board authorize the acquisition of 2 houses that have been provided to us by OSP. Thanks, Monica. And I'm not sure if there's anything you might wanted to add about these 2 lots. Both of them are in the Maston district. We do have 1 other house that's going to be built in Maston. So there'll be 3 in Maston that are contiguous to each other. They seem like really good properties. We also did ask the construction managers to look at the lots to make sure that they felt that they were appropriate for development, and they were all on board. So we are asking the board to approve the acquisition of those lots, and hopefully, if we can get the pre-development going right away, we will be able to also get these houses in the ground. Then, is it accurate to say by the end of the year?
That are very close. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we've ordered one of them will be modular. The order's been placed with Champion already. The really site work that needs to be done, and the project's all purchased out. So
Is this then folded into the program
Yes,
the same way we're doing the 52?
correct.
yes, Yeah, those are detailed, they're the two properties I'm going with are on the resolutions,
Oh, I see, okay, yep, yep.
Anything further, Justin?
I mean, no, it's, three steps behind us. I'll hold it.
Well, second. Thank you. Motion made and seconded. Anything on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. I'd like to skip 11 and we'll move on to number 12, the executive director's report.
Well, okay, Thomas actually did the executive director's report there. We had a great walkthrough with the mayor on Monday, so thank you for that opportunity to meet with him. And he seemed in really good spirits, and it was a really good tour. So that was great. And then with regard to our 12 House Adams Street project, we are looking at a May 1st completion of the first 4 homes. So that's also exciting that we'll be able to officially start marketing those properties. And again, those will be also sold by lottery as well. So I can refresh everybody again, perhaps next month when Adam Street moves closer about how that lottery process will work.
Is there anything further? Justin?
No.
Then we'll move back to the personnel board. I'll turn over to Dan. Dan, did you want to make a motion at this time?
Well, I think we will make a motion to move into executive session with the board so we can discuss particular personnel and
So put under public officers law, section 105(1)(f), matters regarding the employment history of particular individuals.
just as I said.
I'll motion to go into executive session.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Is there anything on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Was there anybody that you want?
I started.
Okay, sorry about that.
1 second.
Just been sitting a long.
Okay, we're back.
Motion was made by Dan and seconded by Thomas to go out of the executive session, and come back into the regular meeting. No action was taken during the executive session, and the motion to go back into the regular session was unanimous. Coming out of it, Dan, you had anything that you wanted to make?
I think based on the discussions, what I would like to propose is that, to make a motion that, the adjustments for the following, Ben, be a 10% raise, John, good at a 3%, plus living adjustments, Matt, 6%, generally in line with executive director's recommendations. And for the executive director, we would request a separate meeting with the personnel committee to discuss the appropriate salary and matters related to that.
So a motion made, is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded, is there anything on the question? All in favor?
I,
Any opposed? Motion carried. There's no further business before us. Pleasure of the board.
Motion to adjourn.
Seconded. Thank you once again.